Hi there, Sandra here from createinspain. I drew these gnomes in Procreate and I have made them into a print and cut for the Brother Scan and Cut. Now I've done a whole batch of these because I just fancied doing some colouring. Not something I really do that often, but I just fancied doing some. And I'm a bit out of practice, so I thought, well, I'll just do a batch of them and then I can pick the ones that come out the best. This is quite a difficult card to cut. It's 300 GSM. It's quite hefty and it does take a bit of cutting, this one, but I wanted my pieces to be able to put up with having quite a lot of ink put on them or pencil or whatever it is I'm doing. So I did want to make them out of a thicker card. Now, one thing that it's worth noting with the Brother Scan and Cut is in the cut settings, there is a setting that allows you to change how much of a cut is done at one time, the depth of the cut. Now, if you set it to auto, which is its normal default, it will take about 13 minutes to get through this card. If you put it on 1mm, for example, it will only take 3 minutes. I did have a little bit of card left on there. So the first time I did it, I'd forgotten to set it because I've been cutting something different. I forgot to set it to 1mm again. And it did the first cut and I thought, well, I know that's not cut through, I can see that. And I looked at it and sure enough, it was on the auto setting. So I'm guessing that the auto setting is really set up for vinyl. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably set up for vinyl or paper and not a heavy cardstock. So the auto setting will give you many more cuts, even if it's detecting with the DX, you've got the auto blade, even if it's detecting the depth, it will still limit the cuts to a much smaller depth each pass. Whereas if you put it up, you can get it done quicker. Now, the only reason I would put it up is if I'm cutting something which is heavier like this, because as I said, for this to take 13 minutes or 16 minutes or something is not something I want to do. It should be cut in a few minutes. So I put this up to 1mm and it could probably still have done with 2 passes, but my blade was only on auto. If I'd have put it up to +1 or maybe +2, it would have probably cut it through completely all in the one go, but I hadn't altered it from that point of view. So that's just a little tip for if you're using the Brother Scan and Cut DX. So here is one of my gnomes, only another 11 to colour in. This is the card I've made already. So I'm starting off with a card base and I'm starting off with a print that I designed. Now this is a different print. I will give you both of the prints in the information box below and the design for the gnomes. So this is going to go on my card base, but I don't want it to be just like that. It needs a little bit more oomph. Now the gnome I've chosen to use with this one is not of the same colour family, it is this. And what I'm going to do is to give this a yellow border. So I've got a metal ruler and an alcohol marker. Now using the chunky side is a lot easier if you're going to do this. So you want to put it onto a surface that you can easily clean. I've got my silicone mat here, so it's not a problem. Metal ruler preferably, and just go like so. And you'll get a nice, neat edge. Now I've cut my design down very, very slightly. Not much, but very, very slightly, so that I can have the smallest of borders going around. What I'm going to do is to put my tape on, and I'm just going to use 4 small pieces of tape to stick this on. Now, because I happen to know that this is slightly smaller than my base card, it's quite easy. I know that if I put these pieces of tape in like so, they are not going to be visible. This here can be judged. Now I'm going to do this off camera because I need to have my head over it, but you judge it by the folded side. If you get that right, you're fine. You can always trim the other edges. If you put it so that it's on this edge and you get it slightly wrong, you're stuck. There's nothing that you can do about that. So I've got it on that side, and now all I have to do is to peel these two pieces of tape backing off and let it fall down. And that's enough to hold it onto the front of the card. I don't need to have tape all over the front of it. Just isn't necessary. Again, you don't need mountains of it. You just need enough to prop it up. Unless you are terrified that it's going to get really squashed in the post, you really don't need to have a horrifically large amount of foam tape on the back. And I'm going to sit him, there we go, how we thought. He looks quite comfortable there. And then finally I want to do a few little decor bits. Now on this one I used some foil stars that I have. For this one I'm going to use something slightly different. It's basically a sort of holographic cellophane-y type thing, so it shows up different colours according to the light. It's basically yellow, but I'm going to use a couple of bits of this, and to put it on I'm going to use some acrylic gloss. That just happens to be quite an easy thing to use. Just tiny little dabs along. And once it's actually dried, if you've got more than one over a dab of glue, once it's dried, you could just dust it off. So there's my card, and this is the original one that I did. They're relatively quick and easy to do. This just makes it look more interesting, and that's something that I did in Procreate. It's great for doing background effects, things like that for cards. And I'm using photo paper, which gives it a nice gloss. And the reason I do that is because I've got loads of the stuff. I was gifted a lot of it when someone moved house, and I have packets and packets and packets of it left. So I may as well use it for cards. Okay, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed that. As I said, the designs will be linked in a Dropbox link down below, and you can pick that up even if you don't have Dropbox. If you've liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave your comments down below. I'll see you soon. Take care now.